Hi there, my name is Teri Smith. I'm the owner of Adorable Decor, where we make and sell wreaths and other types of home decor. I also work toward inspiring others to make their own designs through my wreath making courses. And today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful floral grapevine wreath. Okay, so this week we're going to be working on a spring grapevine wreath, and I want to take just a moment to talk about supplies. Whenever I say the word grapevine wreath or we're going to do a floral wreath, people start getting a little bit panicky. And there's no reason to be afraid to make a floral or a grapevine wreath. And I'm going to show you some easy steps where you can take the leap and be confident in making your own grapevine wreath. Okay? All right, the first thing we're going to do is start out with this is a 14-inch grapevine wreath. And this is a pretty common size I use. I like to use 14, 16, or 18-inch grapevine wreaths. Even though this is only 14 inches in diameter, the final wreath is going to be somewhat larger. So don't shy away from this small grapevine wreath. We'll be talking later about dimension and airiness, that kind of thing, and that's going to be really important as we progress forward in making designer quality or professional quality grapevine wreaths. Okay, now right now I know here in early 2021 grapevine wreaths are a little bit scarce. I know my Hobby Lobby has been out for several months, and I don't know if they know when they're going to be getting any in with COVID and everything. Shipping's all messed up, but anyway, if you cannot find a suitable grapevine wreath, this design can also be used on a moss wreath, or I've got some pine cone and moss wreaths that I found at Sims Pottery, and the wreath shops have just listed a bunch of the moss wreaths. So don't feel like you have to use a grapevine wreath. Okay. All right, so we're going to have the 14-inch grapevine wreath, and then I think one of the biggest things people get hung up on and are why they're hesitant to make a grapevine wreath is floral selection. Probably the easiest, quickest way to get you making quality grapevine wreaths is just to go to any craft store, or floral store, whether it's Joann's, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, or wherever else you choose to shop, and just find a nice floral bush that you like. Now this is a Hobby Lobby bush, and all the work's already done for you basically as far as color selection. If you find it in a bush, that they go together, right? So you don't have to worry about it. Now, I usually will go ahead and add some other goodies, extra greeneries, and maybe another filler flower or such, but this will make you a nice, good start on your grapevine wreath, okay? But just go down through the aisle. For this particular wreath, I pulled 3 or 4 of these bushes. I don't think we're going to use that many. I think we'll probably end up using 2, but maybe more. But whenever you find that bush that you do like, pick up at least 2, maybe 3 of the bushes. Okay, and as you know, Hobby Lobby every other week has their florals on sale, so make sure you buy it on sale. But anyway, we're going to be going with coral. When I was at market this past week, coral seemed to be one of the colors that's going to be hot for this coming year. So that's why I went ahead and chose this. It's a bush I've used before, but I really like it. And then I also, even though this has some greenery with it, I also add a few of my own greens, and this also was a Hobby Lobby bush. And the reason I chose this one was, number one, I like the blade grass, and then it also has another texture with this leaf grass. But then if you look at the very tip of it there, it has these little coral blossoms, and I thought that would tie in really nicely with this bush. And then I also grabbed some eucalyptus just to just in case we need a few of the, you know, these are pretty long bladed grasses. Just in case we need something a little bit more short and compact, I grabbed this eucalyptus bush. And then the next thing too, we are going to have a bow on this wreath. You do not have to place a bow on your floral wreaths. And you know, I do them both ways, but this one we're going to have a transition point. We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to place a bow. And the ribbons that I chose for this particular design was this one you might have seen me use before. It has the lime green with the kind of the lattice type design there, and it's based on a natural color canvas that almost looks like a burlap. And then I have this dark coral. I could have chosen a lighter coral, but I wanted the bow to kind of pop just a little bit, and you know, all the colors in this are pretty muted, so I wanted to bring a little extra pop of color, and it ties in. You know, we've got the lime green with these berry spikes here, and then with the hydrangea, and I don't know if you can appreciate it on the camera, but in the center of those hydrangea blooms there's a little bit of coral, and then of course we've got the really light pale coral daisies, and I'm not sure, maybe these are Gerber daisies or zinnias, I'm not sure which, but I'm going to be using these too. Now, if I could have found a just a plain lime green lattice with a 1.5 inch, I probably would have gone with just those two, you know, the coral with the lattice, but I don't have any. I do have this, another ribbon that would work would be, you know, a like a lime green gingham check. I'd also pulled this before I remembered I had this one, but to me, if I was going to go with just a solid ribbon, I would just go with a single 1.5 inch of this, and I have made this design with this this coral ribbon alone, and it was very pretty, but I just wanted to highlight. Now, I know this ribbon, the last I checked, had been out of stock. I don't know if they're making it anymore. However, let me show you a trick here. Put this down. We've got this burlap. This is a 2.5 inch burlap. What if we just took this lime green check and put it right on top of that? Okay, you wouldn't even have to glue it down. In fact, I probably would not glue it down, okay, because this is a pretty thin material, and the likelihood that the glue going to the front and ruining the ribbon is pretty high. So you could just place those two together, and for that fact, you could even pair, you know, maybe put these two together like that. But I'd probably go with this one because I wanted to bring just a little bit of white into the wreath also. So, and of course you'll need hot glue, wire cutters, pipe cleaner, some floral picks possibly, in fact probably. I think that's it. So let's get started. Okay, now the first thing we need to do with our grapevine wreath is, you know, depending on when you get your grapevine, some of them can be pretty messy, and by messy I mean they might be full of leaves, they might be misshapen, they may have a lot of extra twigs hanging off of them, so we need to clean it up and get our wreath ready to use. Now, the importance of making sure you get most of the leaves out of between these grapevines is that, you know, we're going to be placing our glued stems into the grapevine, and if your glue is just adhered to those leaves, as those leaves disintegrate, then your bloom can fail, your stem can fall out. Okay, so it you know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want to get most of the leaves out from between these vines. And then two, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about choosing your grapevine. Now, this is really a nice wreath. It is pretty uniform in a circular shape, whereas, you know, if you find some that are misshapen, especially right now, like I said, we're in short supply, you know, it doesn't discount it, but it does kind of make a difference on our design where we're going to place things and such. I plan on having this side of the wreath, or one side of the wreath, exposed, so I want a decent side. Now, like I said, you want to look at and make sure it's circular, but you also want to look at it and make sure that it's reasonably straight this way, because if it's warped, then you can get some wobble going on in the door, and it could possibly, put a scratch or wear down your customer's door. So you don't want that. Okay. Now there's fixes for everything I'm talking about, but if you can find a nice wreath with a nice shape to it, go for that one. Okay. All right. And then we also want to look at how closely the grapevines are spaced. This one again is a pretty good grapevine. We do have some, right in this area where they're pretty loosely spaced. Now, say we needed to tighten that up a little bit, we can always take some binding wire and just tighten that up just a bit. Over on this side, it might be a little bit closely spaced, which makes makes it a little bit more difficult for us to get our stems in. Again, there's a fix for that. We can always cut some of those vines out. Okay. All right. Now let me get my price tag off. This wreath came from Michael's, and so far, knock on wood, I've had pretty good luck working, buying those in bulk. But like I said, just look around, see what you can find. Okay. All right. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, typically I'll do this outside because it can get pretty messy, but I've got my awl that I usually will, you can do the same thing with a screwdriver, but I just take it and I kind of take it in between here and kind of crumble up some of those leaves. Okay. You can also use needle nose pliers. I'll kind of bang on it and make all kinds of noise. Let's just kind of go through here and try and get the most of them out. Like I said, we don't have to get them all. Whoops. Okay, all right, then I usually will take it and I'll kind of bang it around a little bit. You want to make sure you get both sides, the front and the back. Okay, all right, well, we got a great big one right here. Let me grab that. Now, if you're using an awl like what I'm using, be careful. It's easy to get carried away and, run that over your top of your hand. So be a little bit careful with it. Okay. All right. Now, let me get my desk cleaned off here. I told you it's going to be messy. Okay. All right. Now, we zoom in here. And like I said, really this wreath is a pretty nice grapevine wreath. Now, what I want to do next, I want to find out where I'm going to put my hanger, how I want the wreath to lie. And what I do for that, I just kind of work it around through there. Now, look at that. Even though, that wreath looks pretty uniformly round, when you lay it like this, it looks kind of oblong. So I wouldn't want to put it that way. I just keep working around. And to me, I think these vines are a little bit more sparsely placed than this side over here. This side over here is going to be really good to have good contact area for my glue and my stem. So I'm wanting this side of the wreath to be where I'm putting my stems. I want this side of the wreath to be where that's exposed. Okay, so what I need to do, I'm going to come through here. I'm just going to trim off some of these extra vines. They're just kind of hanging. I don't have to worry about it over here unless there's something just terribly, sticking out really far or something. All right. And I'll do this on the back side as well. I'm not going to do it while we're doing this video, but before I would ship this off, I would clean up the back side as well. Because, you know, the customer might have a glass door they're placing it on. They don't want something ugly and, you know, kind of an eyesore hanging on their glass door. Okay? All right. Okay. All right. Now I've decided on how I want my wreath to hang, right? So now I'm going to place my wreath hanger. Okay? All right. So let me zoom back out again. And I usually will pull off, depending on how heavy my wreath's going to be. This is not going to be a heavy wreath. I'll pull anywhere from usually 16 to 18 inches on for my wreath hanger. Okay, this is Rustic Wire. It's a heavy gauge wire that is wrapped in a paper-like or jute-like material. Okay, and this is what I prefer to use for my wreath hangers. You can also use pipe cleaner. You can use floral wire, but this is what I use. Okay. It comes in different colors too. For like the winter time when you're working with a lot of evergreen, it comes in that green color also. But I like to get it in the color that's the same color as my Grapevine. Okay, so again, we want this side exposed. So I'm just going to take this. I'm going to do this backwards. Okay, and I'm just going to hold my thumb there where I'm going to want my hanger to be. I'm just taking my needle nose pliers and I'm running it right up through the middle there. I'm grabbing a hold of my rustic wire and I'm pulling it through. Okay. Now if you try to just take this and shove it down in there, it's going to fray and it's going to get a mess. So that's why I pull it this way. Okay. And it just keeps that from, you know, keeps it looking nice. It keeps it from fraying. Plus it runs your wire down through there pretty quickly. Okay. All right, now, at this point, you could either, you just want to make sure a standard size wreath hanger can fit there, okay? All right, now at this point, you can either take both of these sides, bring them up, and twist it around each side of this, or you can take them and you can twist them together like this, and then tuck that up underneath. I'm going to do it the first way, okay? It does not matter either way. Either way is fine, okay? All right, we're just going to wrap that right around there. And then I'm going to take that sharp edge, I'm going to tuck that down into the grapevine, okay? Now, some people do not place a wreath hanger, and I almost always do, with very rare exceptions. But it's been my experience. I'm trying to help out the customer, okay? And it's been my experience sometimes even when I do have a wreath hanger on that they don't know which side's up and which side's down. So, you know, this kind of spells it out, in my opinion. But there again, I have had somebody that had a wreath hanger and it was still hanging upside down. So there's that. But anyway, I just think it helps it look more professional. Okay? All right. So now we're ready to start placing our greens. Okay, now we're ready to start placing some greens. And like I said, I chose this Hobby Lobby bush. And it is plastic, but the plastic and artificial greenery has come a long way over the last several years. So don't let that scare you when you see that in the description if you're ordering online. I always like to see mine in person to choose it, but sometimes we just got to trust and go with our, go with our gut. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But anyway, first thing I like to do, I like to take my the bottom greenery and kind of push it up, kind of gently, okay? And you want to avoid pushing it too hard or getting too rowdy with it, because sometimes you can push the top of it right off. And that's not a big deal. I mean, you just need to glue it back on, but my motto is try not to make any more work for yourself than you have to, okay? All right, so that's what the bush looks like now, okay? So I'm just going to trim these off. I'm not going to trim them real short, okay? I'm going to trim them, I don't know, that's probably what, 4 inches? Yeah, about 4 inches long, okay? Just cut each one of these off our bush. I've got 2 bushes. I'm not going to cut the second one just yet. Whoops, that one's way up there. This has several stems on it, so it's a nice bush. I buy this bush a lot. Use it in several of my designs. Oops. Okay. All right, and I always off to the side, I always keep my price tags, and that will tell me if you're a seller, then that's a good way where I can see my costs. So I don't throw that away until I'm completely done designing, okay? All right, now let's see, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. We have 9 stems off of this one bush, so that's good. To start with, I'm going to take 2 of them at a time. We're just going to be laying the base of the wreath, okay? Now my plan is I want to have a bow up in this area, maybe some tails. I haven't decided that part yet. With that 2.5-inch ribbon, that makes me think maybe not. And actually, maybe I might even talk myself out of using that 2.5-inch ribbon now that I say that out loud, but we'll see how it goes. But anyway, we're going to be putting the bow here, plus or minus tails, okay? So I want my transition point to be right here, okay? If I was going to be putting my bow right here, then that would be what we would count as the transition point, okay? And then the importance of that is that wherever your transition point is, you want your greenery to be playing off of that, okay? So if this is my transition point, I'm going to have greenery pointing this way and pointing this way. What you don't want to see happen, say I put my bow here, we wouldn't want our greenery coming, you know, one way on the other side and then meeting in the middle, if that makes sense. If I was going to put my bow down here, I'm going to make it all continuous, and the importance of that is it's easier on the eye, and then the eye, you know, subconsciously, then the customer will think there's something a little bit off. If you feel like your eye is jumping or jagged just a little bit, then the perception subconsciously is that there's something wrong, okay? You want a nice, smooth transition, okay? Now, this is going to be a half moon shape, so we're not going to be having any meeting over here in the middle, so we can do the opposite direction, okay? I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to start out doing 2 at a time with the greeneries, and I'm going to stagger them just a little bit. You know, nothing in nature is uniform. It's you know, everything's varying sizes, textures, that kind of thing. And so I'm going to stagger these just a little bit, which means one of these is going to be a little taller than the other, okay? Now, I'm going to be using my still pick machine because these stems are a little bit on the thin side. If I were just to place these in here with some glue without a pick, then they're not going to stick. Okay, so we need something to shore up our stem just a little bit. I'm going to be using my still pick machine. I will show you, in case you don't have a still pick machine and don't feel like you have to have one. I went a lot of years and did not have one, but if you don't have one, you can use a wooden floral pick. So, and we'll place one of those with the next greens that we put on, okay? All right, so I'm just going to bring that forward here a little bit. Actually, let me trim off one of these. Okay. All right, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is a still pick machine. okay? And it's gonna, whenever I bring this handle forward, it brings that pick here, and I'll show you what the pick shows, or what it looks like, okay? It brings that forward, and then I crimp it down around those stems, okay? So see how much thicker. Here's my stem before, okay? Now I've got a nice thick stem, and that's going to stay in there. Plus it's a little bit jagged on the end, and it makes it good and sturdy. Now they are very sharp, so if you get them, make sure that you're aware of that. And I kind of offset some of my stems like this, and kind of make them, kind of fluff them, so to speak, okay? All right, now the first place I'm going to go is right there at that transition point, okay? I'll zoom in here. Okay, so if I place my bow here, I'm going to have some greenery going this way, some greenery going this way, okay? I'm going to start out with this one. I'm going to go in the center here, okay, and we're just going to place that. And notice I did not stick the stem in straight, okay? I went parallel with the grapevine. That's going to provide a bigger surface area for the glue to adhere to that stem, okay? All right, now zoom back out here. Now this one I'm going to do with a floral pick, a wooden floral pick, so I can show you, okay? We're going to grab two of these, and again I'm going to stagger them just a little bit, okay? I'm going to trim this one off so both of these stems are even. Okay, all right, and this is a floral pick, a wooden floral pick. You can get them at any craft store or any place that has florals, but it's a wooden stick, and then it has this little wire here on the end, and we're just going to lay that right next to the stem, just like that, okay? And then I'm going to take that wire and I'm just going to wrap it around those stems, kind of snugly, okay? All right, so I've got that just like that, okay? Now I'm going to take some floral tape, and I'm just going to wrap that around. Now the floral tape, once you stretch it, it becomes sticky. It is not sticky before, okay? But so as we're turning this, we're going to wrap our stem with the floral tape. I'm going to go down, and then I'm going to go back up. I usually go back and forth a couple of times, okay? Just back and forth, twist it like this. And also this floral tape, it comes in different colors too. So, you know, sometimes if you're doing a wintertime design, you need white. It comes in white, comes brown, and then a green. I don't know if I've seen any other colors or not. Okay, and then I just tear that off, okay? Now I've got a nice thick stem. Now, I also use these floral picks. Sometimes if you're just needing a longer stem, you can put those on the end, okay? All right, now again, we're going to fluff this. Just kind of, okay, fluff it just like we do our Christmas tree. Okay, zoom back in here. Okay, all right, so our bow's going to go here. I usually put about my fist to make to make the space for the bow. Okay, so I'm going to come back over this way, and I'm going to bring my greenery is going to be pointing this way. Okay, and again, I'm working on, right now I'm working toward the inside of the wreath. Okay, and I'm going to be inserting it down here. Okay, because we're going to run our floral stem up this way. Okay, that's kind of long, so well, it's okay. I thought it might be too long and extend beyond the wreath, but it's fine. Okay, all right, so that's what we have so far. Okay, now let's take two more, and I'm gonna go ahead and use my steel pick machine here. Again, I'm going to stagger them. Okay. All right, then I'm going to fluff them. Okay. All right, now this time I want to go a little to the outside of the wreath. Okay. These two are on the inside. This one's going to go to the outside. And again, I'm running it right parallel with that grapevine. Okay. All right, well, let's do it again. Stagger this. I'm going to have to trim it off. Okay, then I'm going to fluff it. All right, and again, we're on the inside, we're going to go on the outside. Okay. And we're going to parallel with the grapevine. Okay. And notice too, I've kind of got the greenery coming out away from the wreath. Look how much bigger that wreath is already on that 14-inch base. Okay, don't try to smash everything and make it just one, one plane. You want it nice and full. Okay, all right, now I am going to go ahead and trim that other bush that I was talking about. I want to put one more bunch of greenery down here, and then we might add some more later on. I don't know yet. You know me, I design as I'm teaching. So I don't come in here with a preconceived idea of what I'm doing. We're learning it. It's designed together here. Okay, and this one too, of course I need to fluff it, but this one I'm gonna stay kind of to the outside, and then I might come back and bring another bunch of the greenery here on the inside. Okay, make sure we fluff it. Okay. Yeah, I for sure will be bringing another one here. Actually, I might go ahead and do that right now. And again, it's a set of two. Okay. Okay, we're going to stagger it. Okay, all right, and I'm just going to place it right about right here, and it's going to be on the inside of the wreath. Okay. I'm going to put just a dab more glue on that one there. And since I did that, I'm going to place just a little bit of moss over that. Just to cover up my glue dropping. Okay. All right, so that's what we have so far. Now let's add some florals. Okay, now we're going to add some florals. And as I said, this bush has pretty much all we're going to need. We can always add more, but has all the florals that we're going to need for this design. Okay. All right. So I just going to spread these all out, and we're going to trim each one of these little stems here. okay? And again, I'm going to push these leaves upward. Now, some of these leaves we might keep, some of them we may not, okay? And again, as you push these upward, be careful with that you don't, let it go loose and then knock off your bloom. Just push each one of those up there. This really has pretty decent looking greenery. It might get a little bit too thick though, too bunched together, so that's why I'm thinking we might get rid of some of it, but I don't know at this point, okay? All right, so let's just trim them all off, and I'm trimming these with about another 4 inches off of that stem, okay? You can go longer if you want to. In fact, I'd rather you go longer than shorter. Actually, I'm probably going closer to 6 inches on mine. Okay. All right, I saw a price tag in there. Let's get that off of there. Goodness. Okay. All right, now what I do, I separate these out according to flower, okay? So we have the zinnias, or Gerber daisies. Like I said, I'm not sure which they are. All right, and then we have the little, I think those are daisies. And some of them have this little blossom hanging off. Some of them have the berries hanging off. So I'm separating those, okay? And then we have the hydrangeas, okay? All right, and that helps me kind of plan where I want to place my florals, okay? I'm going to wait to cut my other bush. We'll do one bush down here, one bush here. I might have to put a little bit more down here. I don't know. That's my plan right now, okay? All right, and I always start with the largest ones first, but it's pretty close with these two. I think I'm going to start out with this. This to me is more of our focal flower. So I'm going to start out with these, okay? And I'm going to kind of shape them. I'm just going to go through here right now, and I'm just going to find placement. I'm not going to glue them in just yet, okay? And I usually, you hear people talk about working in triangles and such. I do that to a degree, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't. It's just hard to explain. Every design is different. I usually, I'm going to put my bow here, so usually I like to have my focal flower real up there, pretty close to the bow, okay? And then I kind of work from that. Put one here, I'm going to put another one here, and another one down here. And again, I'm just placing these, and just with adding that greenery, my grapevine's already started to get pretty snug. So I may not have to put picks on these, okay? I like my flowers pointing different directions, okay? I want it up there kind of tall and airy. He'll stay once we get a pick placed on him. Okay, so we've got our triangle there. I don't know if I want to bring one here. I think we'll do that. So we have a triangle here, have a triangle here, okay? And these, I'm actually going to stagger these a little bit. I want this one back a little closer, this one a little bit more forward, but okay. All right, so let's go ahead and place these now. I'm going to place my, like I said, that even though that looks kind of, space kind of sparse, it was kind of tight whenever I was trying to put my stem in there. So I'm going to try it without using a floral pick at this point, okay? Let me zoom in for you. Okay. All right, like I said, my bow's going to be right here. Now, if you haven't heard me say before, I know when I first started out, I would have all my flowers placed just the way I wanted them, and then I'd take them out to put glue on them, and then I'd forget where I had them placed, okay? If it happens to you, let me show you one of the best tricks anybody ever told me. I just take like a floral pick, a wooden pick. I take this out, I place that right there, and I know exactly where I need it to go back in, okay? All right, like I said, best tip anybody ever told me. Okay, all right, and I'm kind of playing with the greenery on this a little bit too. That's going to be helping to add to the texture. And as I said, these leaves are pretty nice. If these were kind of cheap looking or fake looking, I would probably have taken those off, but they're pretty good and they're going to act to fill in our design, okay? Now, if you're putting in your picks and they don't feel like or your stems, and you don't feel like they're going in kind of snugly, then I would suggest using a pick at this point, okay? All right, like I said, I want these flowers facing different directions. I'm gonna hold that there a second. Just like it is in nature. Think that way, okay? It's almost ready. Not quite convinced. Stay up there. I'm going to let that grass hold that up there, okay? All right, and I always like to have some kind of pointing down into the center of the wreath also. Again, like nature, okay? And if we get too far down, or if we get kind of far down the road and we see we're getting a little bit too full before we get all our goodies placed, we can come back here, we can trim off some of these leaves, okay? All right, but notice how I'm not placing these stems right up on the wreath. I've got them off the wreath. I'm gonna say they're standing out probably 4 to 6 inches. Okay? Don't have them just compact up against it. I like light and airy. Light and airy. Just like nature. Okay. All right, now that one I need a little bit more glue. And again, I'm going to stick a little moss over it. This moss acts not just to cover up my glue, but it also will act to help support that. That was just a little bit looser than I feel comfortable, but that'll help hold that in place, hold that blossom in place. Okay? All right. Perfect. Okay? All right, now I'm going to go ahead at this point, because I like using the whole bush. I like the look we're going toward. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to start on this also. I'm going to cut this other bush. I'm going to keep the two separated though, because I want it You know, it doesn't have to be matchy-match, but I want it pretty uniformly distributed so I don't end up and need some more flowers and I don't have them. Okay? Again, we're going to push these up. Now I'm missing a bloom off of this one. I do have an extra bush that I might have to borrow from. Alright, let's go ahead and trim these off. Again, I'm keeping them separated from my other stack. Okay. All right, get the price tag off. Maybe. Wish they had some better way to put these price tags on here, because sometimes you tear up your product just trying to get the price tag off. Get off of there. It's all glued right around that stem. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay. All right, so we'll separate out our blooms. So we do have 4 of the dahlias. We have 3 of these like we did in the other bush. I'm trying to figure out which one's missing. We have 3 of those, so I think we must be, I don't know. Huh. I'm not sure what that empty one belonged to. But I'm sure we'll figure it out though, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll start placing these blooms on the bottom. And again, just checking placement. And I've got the one that's going to be right up here next to the bow. I want another one kind of cradling the bow on either side, okay? And again, we're just placing these right now. Just trying them on for size. If I can get that to go in there. Whoops. Grab another one. Goodness, something caught my throat. All right. We're going to cradle that. Bow's going to be right here. Okay? All right, let's bring one to the inside. Again, kind of mirroring this one right here. Have those looking at each other. This has 2 layers of leaves on it, so I'm kind of trying to stagger these leaves. So it kind of, okay. All right, so we're going to go down a little bit further, just like we did up here. Okay, and I won't have that pointing quite like that, but it'll be pointing downward. Okay. So it'll be a little farther in. And then I need one down here. Okay. And again, I'm staggering those leaves on here. Okay. All right. Okay, so we have our triangles. We've got the one here by the bow, down here, and then another triangle here. Okay? All right, let me zoom in and show you here. Now we're gonna start gluing those in. Okay? I'm gonna trim this stem down just a hair. And again, don't be bashful to put that floral pick there for your placement if you're afraid you'll not be able to go back straight to it. Okay. And then let's see. Just want to make sure that I've got plenty of room for my bow. I think that'll be fine. I'm going to put just a little bit more glue on that one. Might regret it when we go to place our bow, but I'd rather struggle with that than my stem to fall out. Okay. All right, let's do this one. Trying to get my leaves arranged here. Okay. All right, let's get this guy. Now, I may have cut this one a little bit too short. We'll look. I might have to come back and put a stem, or actually, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm pretty sure I did. Let me go ahead. I'm going to put a pick on this one. And again, you know, the first time we were putting the pick on because our stem was not thick enough. We were wanting to get a better girth on it. This one I need a little bit more length. Okay. I just cut it just a little bit too short. All right, make sure you pull your grasses apart so that you're not dragging. You know, you don't want to drag your glue through that grass, okay? Okay, and one more. There we go. Isn't that pretty already? Okay, all right, so let's continue with our flowers. And we're replacing the bigger ones first, right? So we have the 4 hydrangeas. Actually, I thought that, no, I'm wrong. So we have 3 and 3. I was gonna say, I thought I had 3, but I think I messed up and put one of the hydrangeas on the other side there. Mix up our bushes. So, okay, same thing. Now, we're starting to get kind of full in here with greenery. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to slip this off. I do like the variegated leaves on here, so I'm going to leave those. But, you know, with that additional leaf, plus this particular leaf is kind of cheap looking, so I'm going to take that one off, okay? All right, and again, I'm going to place them first. Yeah, I'm going to bring that in just a little bit, just to kind of envelop that bow. And I've got a space here. We can place this here. might bring this guy up a little bit further. Maybe over here. Let me look here. Try this on. We don't have to use them all, okay? So you can see how this is already getting nice and full. Maybe even right here. Or I kind of like it there. I think we'll put it right there. Okay. And again, if we notice it's getting too full, we can always come and trim some of those leaves out. Okay, we may have to do that. I want each one of these flowers to have its own space. I don't want them too crowded. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to place my hydrangeas down here. Don't forget about back in this area. You're going to have people standing to this side of the wreath. You're going to have people standing to that side of the wreath. So we can place that behind the, kind of behind the bow, so to speak. Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of looking. I might take these variegated leaves off. We're getting kind of full in there. Getting kind of full. Let's put one here. Okay. You know what I think I want to do? I think I want to bring this guy. I'm going to bring this right here. Bring some of that color to kind of meet in this area. Kind of like that. And I am pretty sure I'm going to take those leaves off because it's just getting too crowded. And we have some other things to add still, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and let's start placing these. And I'm saving these leaves. We can use them still yet in this design, or we can use them in something else. So save those leaves. I've got a nice box of leaves underneath my table here that I borrow from all the time. Again, don't smash it down into the wreath, okay? See how much I've got that up? Do I have that where you can see? Let me zoom in here. Okay? See how I've got it kind of standing up off of the wreath, okay? That in there. There we go. Just debating here. I'm looking at the green, looking where we're at, and where, I want to make sure that we got good balance going on, okay? And I think we're okay. Okay. Like I said, see how easy this is, and you're not having to worry about picking out all your flowers and stems. Everything coordinates. I might have to trim down the length on this stem here. Nope. It's just being a little bit stubborn. There we go. All right, I've got some glue there. Let me cover that up. There we go. All right, now let's just keep on trucking. I'm just taking these right back in the exact spot where I had them, or more or less, I should say. Okay, got that one, just making sure I got everything glued in. Okay, I think I do. Okay, all right, now like I said, don't throw these leaves away. We'll save those for another day. Okay, okay, now I want to go ahead, I want to put these nice spiky things in there. But, you know what? Let's put our bow in there first, though, okay? This is where I'm going to have to make a decision. Do I want to go with this? I love that ribbon. Or do I want to go with the... Let me look at these two together here. I just feel like this... I mean, this is a light and airy wreath that we're making. And I almost feel like the 2.5 inch ribbon is going to be too heavy. Let's see what this looks like here. Let me see. And you know, really, we could even just go with one ribbon. We don't have to use two. That's pretty. I'm going to use both of them, okay? And that's how I kind of try it on for size, so to speak. You know, I haven't made my bow yet. Although it wouldn't be the first time that I made a bow and then I completely changed ideas. But I just think that the 2.5 inch ribbon is going to be weighing it down, so to speak. I hope that makes sense to you. It's just going to be too heavy. I want a light and airy bow. Okay? All right. So now I decide, do I put this on the bottom? I think I will. We'll start out with our coral. Okay. Oh, and we got a glue right there, right off the bat. So I could do one of two things. I could go ahead and trim this off. Actually, I think I am. I'm not going to start out that way. Okay, but you'll see that. I mean, it's just part of the manufacturing. It happens. What is really bad is when you're like, you know, you're making a 6-loop bow and you get to your 6th loop and it's right there in the middle of the loop. That is aggravating. So, all right, now, if I go with the 1.5 inch ribbons, then that opens up possibilities for me to put some tails on it, okay? With the 2.5 inch, I would not put heavy, those tails coming through here. It's going to cover too much up. Okay? What I'm going to do first, though, I'm just going to make a bow. We can always add tails later. Okay? All right, so let's see how big we want to make that. Okay? So that's about an 11 inch or a 5.5 inch bow. 11 inch of ribbon, 5.5 inches of bow loop. Okay? All right. And, we've got lots of bow videos on the group page. I've got them on my YouTube channel, on my blog. So if you need help with bow making, be sure you check those out. I'm going to go ahead and we'll just make this this video is not going to be about making the bow. It's going to be about making the wreath, okay? Does that make sense? I'm going to make 4 loops, I think, of each ribbon. Okay? And again, we'll make tails if we decide we want them. It's going to be pretty. Going to be pretty. This gingham ribbon is a little bit on the thinnish side, meaning the wire is not real thick, but I think it'll work okay. And I made both of those bows, I made pretty close to the same size. Okay, so they're all about a 5.5 inch loop, give or take. Okay, and then I'm just going to put a little pop of coral right there in the center. We'll just make a 2-loop bow. And it's going to be smaller. It's probably going to be about a 2.5 or a 3-inch loop. Oop, I didn't get that twisted all the way. Okay. All right, so let's get our pipe cleaner. And I'm going to use a brown one. Okay. Because it's not going to show from the front of the bow by the time I get done, and then it'll blend in with the grapevine, making less work for me when I'm doing my cleanup before I ship it. Okay? You just kind of place all my loops here and make sure they're the way I want them. These colors are really pretty together. It's for sure saying spring. Okay. All right, and we're just going to place that right there in the center of that space there. When I'm placing my bow, I'm not going to place it back here on the outside of the wreath. I'm going to place it on the inside. Okay? That's going to help not have your bow all droopy. And it's going to make it look more part of the wreath, more incorporated into the wreath. Okay? All right, let me tie this on the back here. Just wrapping it around the grapevine several times. Make sure it's good and tight. Okay. All right, now let's arrange our bow loops. Kind of have them weaving in and out of the flowers. I want to shorten up these loops on the center here. Thought I had them smaller than I do. So I'm just pulling on the tails. Okay. All right, I'm just going to roll these up for right now and keep them out of the way. Rolling up these tails, that is. Okay. Actually put that one back in the back there. And just keep fussing with your loops and your ribbon until you're happy with it, okay? All right, I think that looks all right for right now. Okay, I really like those colors. Okay, all right, now let's start adding some more florals. Okay, now let's start finishing up our florals, okay? And the next thing I want to add are these spiky berry looking things. And I do like the greenery or the leaves on these, and the other ones, the other florals I have left, I do not like these. They're kind of pretty inexpensive looking, so we're going to take those off. So I'm going to leave these on here for right now while we place them. We may end up taking them off, I don't know. But now as I'm placing this, I'm going to fluff this just like I do my other stems, okay? And since this one's kind of a little wonky looking, I want to make sure that this is going to be drooping down that way, not looking this way, okay? All right, and let's see. I don't know. I might even come back and trim this off. Let me do that. I'm just going to twist this off. Well, I'm going to have to cut it. Looks like it's got a little thicker of a branch down in there. Okay, all right, now when I did that, that left just a little bit of white foam visible, and I would take or I will take a marker, and I'll just, whatever color, lime green, or probably I could even do some yellow, or even that orange, or coral that they have there, and I'll fill that in, okay? All right, now, let's go ahead, I'm going to place one here, and again, we're just going to try it on for size. But we've got a space right up in this area. Okay. And I've got 3 for each side. I think I want one coming underneath the bow down here. Maybe in this area. Don't want to hide that floral though. We'll put it back there behind. And notice that we're starting to fill in the center of our wreath also. Okay? You don't want to forget about the center of your wreath. All right, I've got one more. I know I want to bring it, kind of jet it out. Okay, extend it beyond the wreath. Okay? Like in there. It kind of hides that little flower though. Let me see how if I can arrange that to where that's visible. I don't like that. All right, and I might come back and trim this off a little bit. I don't know. Let me try this up here. Yeah, I like this a little bit better up this direction. There. Okay. Okay. All right. Now let's place them down here. And this one does not have the coral flower on it. So actually, you know what I could do? Since this one's all kind of squashed in there, let's try this guy out. Let's trade that guy out. There. Okay, I like that better. Okay, I want that flower to be visible. All right, let's put one over here. We've got one here, so I'm going to come back on the other side of that bow. Okay, so we've got a little bit of the coral showing back here. We have a little bit of this. I'm going to kind of bend this guy this way just a little bit. Okay, like that. And I am slipping off one of the leaves just because it's getting kind of full here. Okay, I want one of these coming up toward the center. And I think this is the perfect place to do it, right here. That way we can see both the berries and the little coral lily. Okay. All right, I have one more. Could either put it right here. Actually, you know what? I might even take this guy and bring him down here. Let's see what... Let me see. Let me play around here. Nope, don't like that. So let's go back where we were. Okay. All right, and I don't know if you can appreciate on camera, but I can kind of see just a hint of the coral peeking out through there. Okay. All right. Let's start gluing those guys in. I say that. Let me take one more look here. Okay. All right. We're going to go with it. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take one of these leaves off of these. Just getting a little bit too full. Okay. And the fact that these all these stems are wired nicely, so we can arrange and rearrange all those. If you notice one's getting a little bit crowded, just kind of pick him up just a little bit, get him away from his neighbor. Okay. Just created a space there for this. Now's when it starts getting a little bit difficult finding a space to insert your stem. Okay. All right, and right here. Okay. All right, let me take a look at it here. We're good. Okay. All right, where's our other ones? Let's put this over here. Again, I just want that little pop of color back here. Yep. Stem might be way too long on this one, but no, I think we're just fine. No, I was right. I'm going to trim off a little bit more of this stem. I don't like where it's placing my flower. I'm going to look and make sure I've got that in there good, with good contact. I'm going to stick just a little bit more glue on that. Okay? Actually, let me zoom in here. Stick just a tad more glue. Find the right stem here. There it is. Actually, I already have some moss in that area, so that's going to work out just fine. Let me hold this, guys, just a second while that glue sets up. Okay. All right, so got that one. We just need this one, I believe. That out just a little bit. I want to make sure that that little flower shows, but there we go. we're good now. I just had to rearrange. I wanted to make sure that you could see this little coral flower. Okay. All right, now get rid of these leaves. Okay. All right, now I still have these little daisies. And again, I don't like the greenery on these, so we're going to get rid of that. Okay, and I'm throwing these away because, like I said, I don't like those. Okay, all right, aren't those pretty? But we have 5 of these. That must have been the one that we were missing. Yeah, okay. So we have 5 of these. So let me look. I'm going to turn this wreath toward me. Oops. So if I was going to choose, since I have an uneven number, I'm going to put more on the bottom than I am on the top. Okay? To me, it just looks a little lighter here, and needs just a little bit more volume to be cohesive with the top. Okay? I still have another bush I can steal from if we need another one too, but I'd rather not do that if I don't have to. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to place 2 of these on top. And I want to bring a little bit of coral over into this area. Okay? So let's just place them. We're going to try them on for size. Find a place where they're happy. And that's going to go in just a little bit more than that. But I kind of like it too because I've got this kind of hanging down, and this might help with that little drapey effect if I could have it placed right in this area. Okay. There you can just see the one of the daisies. Let me see if I'm going to play with it, see if I can find a place where you can see both of them. Maybe like that. Okay. All right, let me place another one up on top. Like that. There we go. Kind of like that. All right, so I wanted some of them hanging off the back here. And then I want some here in the center. And then some hanging down this way. You're right in this area. I'm going to turn it toward me. I like that. Might move this guy back just a bit into this area. Yeah. No, I think we're good where we were. Okay, let's start gluing those in. Okay? We're almost done, you guys. One. This side, if you guys can see okay. I'm just gluing these back into right where I took them out of. Or thereabouts, I should say. And like I said, I'm just kind of moving these, letting each one of these flowers have his own space. I don't want them crowded. We do that just by bending the wires, placing them where need be. Okay? All right, we still have a hole right in this area, but we still have extra greenery that we could use to fill that in. I don't think we need any more florals there. We look at this up here now, get everybody their own space. Light and airy. And don't be real alarmed about your flowers that don't, the petals are all kind of messed up. You can always take a flat iron or a steam iron after you've tested them, of course. You don't want to use a steam or anything hot that might melt your glue and your flower fall apart, or it melts your petals. So always test it first, but sometimes I'll come back with a steam iron or a flat iron and just kind of fix these petals so that the flower is a little bit better shaped. Not always, because that happens in nature, right? Okay. All right, now the next thing I want to do before we do any more, I want to decide about what we're going to do with this bow. Okay, we have all our florals placed. I'm happy with that. Everything's nice, light, and airy. Okay? All right, and so this guy's still not wanting to leave his neighbor alone there. There we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, before I do anything, I'm going to trim up these tails. I'm going to dovetail my ends. Okay. My bow is just a little saggy, but that's because I don't have any greenery or anything down here to keep it held up. So we'll be adding some of that. That's a real easy fix. Okay. We can also wrap our bow loops around some of the florals or some of the greenery. That also will help to hold your bow loops where you want them. I'm just dovetailing these ends, okay? For right now. Distributing the color just like we would on any other wreath, okay? Okay, is that all my tails? I think it is. Okay. All right, I'm going to turn it toward me so I can see what we've got here. I'm going to trim this guy here down. I don't want him hiding that flower head. Okay. I don't think I want to drape any tails through my greenery. And I could always do something like this, but I don't want to hide too many of these beautiful florals. But I am going to add some tails just to distribute some more color and just make it look a little bit more flowy and drapey. So what I'm thinking, maybe add some straight down. Let me look here. I'm going to play around a little bit here. Oh no, that's kind of pretty. Might be changing my mind here a little bit. Let's try it on. No, I don't think so. I don't want to hide all those beauties that we've got going on here. Okay? All right, but I am going to put some tails. I think we'll drop that down. We could actually bring it off to the side, I guess. I wouldn't mind that. Maybe. Let's do that. All right, I'm just going to make some long tails. I'll save this for a short tail, okay? I'll get me some long tails. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to place these two together. Do I want coral on top? I think I want the coral on top. I'm just going to take a pipe cleaner. I'm going to pinch this. Okay. Just going to take a pipe cleaner. Get me off a big bunch of ribbon. Okay. I'm going to sneak this right up underneath of that bow. Right up underneath where it looks like this is all one piece. Okay. Gotta find some place where I can run it through. There we go. I'm just going to connect this back here. I'm going to wrap it around a little bit of this grapevine. Okay. All right. Now, I do not want these real tight and you know, I want them nice and loose and airy, just like we've got the rest of our wreath, okay? Got plenty of room there. Yeah, just about like that. Now let me get another pipe cleaner. Run it right around that, pinch it. And again, I don't want it tight, and I don't want to cover up my flowers, okay? We'll just find a place where it's comfortable to loop through. Yeah, just like that. Perfect. All right, and again, I'm just running that around the grapevine here. The pipe cleaner I'm talking about. I'm going to trim off some decent sized tails. I don't know how long they'll end up being, but I don't want to be stingy at this point, okay? We'll probably come back and add a few more tails there. And you can either leave these two right on top of each other, like that, or you can spread them out, whichever you want to do, okay? And I'm just deciding, do I want to bring some on the inside? I think I do. I think I'm going to like that. And actually, I'm going to cut this in half, my pipe cleaner, that is. And we're going to drape that toward the inside and have a little tail coming out here. Make sure you're going right up underneath of that bow. That way it looks like, you know, we put this there when we started. And if I know what I'm doing, like I said, I started this design, I did not know what I was going to do with it. If I know what I'm doing, I'll place these tails before I put the rest of the design in. But as I said, I did not know what I was doing. Yeah. Let me twist this around that pipe cleaner there. There we go. All right, and again, just loosely. Loosely, we're going to bring a little of that color to the inside. Okay. Get that other pipe cleaner I had. And as I said, it doesn't matter if you wanted to put the green on top, you could do that also. Okay. Now I don't want it down here matchy match with this. I'm going to make this a little bit shorter. but still drapey. Don't be stingy on your loops. Okay, we'll just let those kind of fall down right through there. And again, I'm going to trim these a little bit longer than I think I might need. Okay. All right, and I know I'm going to add another set of ribbons back here too. All right, now let's go up to the top, I think. Yeah. Okay. Get me another pipe cleaner. I'll cut it in half. Okay, let's go back here. We're going to behind the bow again. I'm going to drop this down a little bit where I can reach it. Right up here, right behind that bow. Okay. All right. Set back up again here. I think I'm going to go behind here. Right about there. Another pipe cleaner. Zoom in here so you guys can see where I'm attaching this. And, you know, there's not one particular space. Yeah, I can't tell you, come out so many inches. It's going to depend on your design here. But just kind of, the ribbon will tell you. I mean, it sounds silly, but just where it naturally drapes. Okay, just not tight. Okay. I think about right there. And if you get it tight and you don't like it, then change it out. I've done that more times than I could count. Okay. Standing on my tippy toes here trying to reach this. You'd think the smart thing to do would be to lower that wreath down, right? But now, that's like I said before, whenever you've got your florals this far along, sometimes it gets kind of hard to find a spot for that pipe cleaner to go through. Sometimes I'll grab my needle nose pliers. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. I cannot get that one through. Goodness, that one was a fighter. And again, not tight. Nice loop, nice and flowy. All right, and we could bring that right straight down through there. Okay. And again, I'm going to trim it longer than I might want. Okay. All right, let me see. I don't think I want to bring any board down through here. I think I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want it to get too crowded right there in that center. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. Oh, I did want to add some more tails too underneath this side of the wreath, if you remember right. Okay, and I had this little tail that we started out with. Remember, I had to cut that off. So we'll just put that right there. I'm going to get another pipe cleaner. I just feel like it, we got the heaviness of the bow here. Not that it's a heavy bow, but you know what I mean. But we've got a lot of ribbon here. I want to bring more than just the one tail down here. The one tail with both the ribbons. I'll just put it just basically the same place I have my other one. Okay, and again, we're going to cut these kind of longish. Okay. All right, I'm going to turn it toward me now and see what the ribbons look like. Always fussing with our bow loops, right? Our bow tails or bow loops. I'm going to shorten this one just a little bit. Same here. Okay, now let's decide what we're going to do with these tails. I already know I want to trim these guys down, and well, maybe They might curl just fine. I am going to dovetail them. It wasn't a very clean cut there. All right, and then I'm just going to take these and I'm just going to let them fall naturally, okay? Just kind of curl them right around my finger. Okay, all right. Now, let's get down here. I'm trimming these a little longer than I might need. We might shorten them. Don't know yet. There we go. And I'm making these all different lengths too. Just like your hair, you don't cut it, and trim it all to one length. Same thing with your ribbons. I want to trim that one down a little bit. Just want a hint of color coming up here. Okay. All right, now let's look and see where we're standing now. I'm going to turn it toward me. It is beautiful. I love it. Love those colors. So springy. And this is a color, you guys, this is a color that you can tell your customers, and they'll ask you what colors would this look all right on such and such color door. And this one will pop on any color door. This is a wreath that you'd be able to see from the street. And what you don't want is something that, that nobody can even tell there's a wreath on the door. But this will pop on any color door. Now, we need to go through now and fill in some holes. As I said, we've got a hole down here. We've got a little bit of a hole over here. I'd like to bring a little greenery here in the center as well. And maybe even up here. But anyway, we still have all that other bush that we started with, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to finish off this wreath. Okay, now let's go ahead and finish off our design just by filling in some holes, okay? And as I said, we still have this other greenery bush that we started with, and I'm going to go ahead and push these up in here. Now we could also incorporate some of the eucalyptus if we like. I'm going to fill in with just a few strands of this. May or may not use the other, and it looks like part of this bush is missing on the top here. So I'm just going to take this, I'm going to turn this end under. We can still use it. Okay, we just don't have that little coral type bud. Okay, all right, I'm just going to cut off 3 or 4 of these. Okay. All right. As I said, I already saw a hole right in this area, but I want to go underneath of this ribbon. And if you want to, you can place these first like we did to start with. I'm not going to. I'm just going to keep on going. All right, that filled in a little bit. I might come back and add another one there. I'm going to bring some of the greenery out. I don't like for the flowers just to stop here. I like for there to be a little greenery here so it doesn't look like it's such an abrupt stop. Actually, let me zoom in again here. I always forget that. One of these days I'm going to have to get me a cameraman. I have one, he just won't ever cooperate. Yeah, I tried to recruit my husband to do that, but he's not having it so far. Okay. All right, we might bring a little bit more up here too, I don't know. All right. Let's bring a little bit behind the bow. So if I did that, I might put some up there, but I'm gonna wait. I want to bring some right here in the center, right behind this bow. I'm gonna cut off these last two. Well, I've got 3 more left here, I guess. Right in there, and that's going to also help hold our bow loops up where we want. Plus, it'll fill in the center of this wreath a little bit more. All right, I've got 2 more. I know I want to put another piece of greenery right there. I want one that looks good though. That one was a little funky. I want to put it right behind this hydrangea. Again, we're just filling in holes. Get all those petals going the way I want them there. That little guy. Okay. You're gonna look at the back of my head here a second so I know where to put that last bit of greenery. I think what needs to go right underneath these tails, okay? Right underneath these tails right here, okay? It's telling me a low battery. Let me plug in my, there we go. There we go. All right. You kind of look here, see if I got any other holes. almost wish I had a little bit more of that. Let me see if I do. Okay, and I do want to put a piece just right here, right in this area. We've got our last piece. All right, now, let me glance here. Just messing with my bow here a minute. I've got this little berry that we cut, that we cut off earlier, and I was half thinking about putting it right here in the center of this bow. I don't think I'm going to, though. I don't know. Well, I don't know. I kind of like it. Let's do that. I'm just going to take a little dab of hot glue. After I know that I'm completely happy with where my bow is and where my loops are. And I'm just going to put that right there. Okay? Okay. All right, let me look here. Don't want to hide this guy down there. Let's get him up here where he's showing off. All right. Okay, I think we're done. Okay, let me zoom in here for you. Show you the final up close here. Hope you can see that well. But hope this has inspired you to make your own floral designs. I hope I showed you some tips where it's going to make the flower choice simple, greenery choice simple. We only use 2 bushes, of flowers, 2 bushes of grass or greenery, and placed our ribbon and bows, and we've made a beautiful floral design, and you can too. I'm anxious to see what you come up for your own designs, and if you have any questions, any problems, anything like that, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will help you if I can, and I'm anxious to see your own designs. So I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.